Testing, testing. If I come through your mic, don't be embarrassed. It's just going to come through, as we know, and just turn it off, like, or turn it down as much as you can. It's just something that happens every time. All right, so just so it'll be on my recording. So if I forget about it, I'm just gonna say the names again, even though it's on here. I record the names. So I have Alexis is not currently here. Brielle is not currently here. Giovanni's not currently here, and that's it. All right. Okay. Perfect. So as I mentioned to you on Monday, we were to get through all of part two on Monday so that we could actually talk about the project today. So this part of the schedule, we took care of all of part two together. So we'll do this class project discussion and all those kind of things. Okay. Remember, we had the snow day, so that's why we need to make that up. And we had made good time. So the class project, that's what your KWL will be on today. And it'll be success team class project. So just to give a little bit more detail, it's not, separate or anything like that. It's success team class project. So go ahead and write that topic in of success team class project. And then remember, if you don't know much about it, nothing wrong with that because it's metacognition. It's all about how you feel about it, right? Just make sure you do it. You get points for doing it, okay? And then what you think you know about it. And it could be not even specific to the project itself. What do you know about projects? And a project you think you might be doing in this class, a project you would be doing with a success team, okay? So that's the line that you would be thinking about here. And then what questions do you have about it? Put that there, okay? Then by the end, all these components will be completed. All right. You guys made excellent time on Monday. I'm so happy that we were able to get all of chapter two done on Monday. Guys might be lucky to get out early. We know we never get out early in here, right? It's like right there or maybe a minute after. So this is one day we might can get out early. Just depending. When I say early, it won't be that early, but early. Now, how can you get a perfect score on this? That's the thing. People want to know. I always want to know when I'm doing things. Remember, I'm back in school too. I'm just like everybody else in here. I'm a student. I'm a student over there at Southern Wesleyan. So when they give me assignments, what do you expect from me? How can I get a perfect score? Okay. So here, I say this. Y'all are not going to be the type that's profanity, but sometimes music, because you've heard a song a bunch of times, you might even they say that in that song. I never noticed that. And if it is something that say you don't have to use music, but sometimes people want to, if it's that type of song, you can just use the instrumental, right? You know, or a portion of the song where they're not, using profanity. So that's why I have that up there. So projects cannot include profanity, and I know that I say that you can see twice. I say that because in fact, it's easier over here. I don't know why it's so sensitive, and then it won't respond as quickly to what you actually want. Um, but again, I put it on there twice so we can be clear about that. If it's a video, you'll submit the link in Blackboard, okay? We'll talk about that kind of thing, how that's done. If it is a PowerPoint, you submit the file in Blackboard, okay? All right, so diamond level competition. So you all are in success teams, correct? Yeah. So I like to make it fun, and also in a way that you can earn extra points. So everybody's, entered in this competition. Who has the best project? Okay, according to your success team. Well, one project in each class can get diamond. A tie is very rare, but like if it's both projects are impeccable, went above and beyond, it could happen, right? And so a diamond level earns an additional what? That's right. I mean, you guys work hard on this, so you deserve that level of, reward for that. Okay, so if you earned a perfect score and you got the diamond level, that could be 200 points for that. So putting that out there. All right, so here we are. Possible topics, because it's going to be strategies that we've learned in this class. And I'm saying that clearly because it's not just a strategy that's out there, it's one that you learn in this class. It can be anywhere in the book, but I'm just giving you some strategies that we've already covered. Okay. So here in the first chapter, we talked about strategies for reading textbooks. We also talked about reading actively. We talked about previewing before we read. Remember, we went through that whole strategy. Activating your background knowledge, checking and strengthening our comprehension, use of the SQ3R strategy. We did all that. How to highlight effectively, how to use annotation to record our thinking. We also went into chapter 2, which we just completed, right? And we discussed how to outline text, how to draw those maps to show relationships, how to paraphrase, summarizing text, and then all of those learning and recall strategies, which I'll recap, okay, because there were quite a few there. So within there, breaking it down, those learn to recall strategies, just like chapter 1, they included in chapter 2, again, the SQ3R strategy, periodic review, final review. We also have building an intent to remember, organizing and categorizing, associating ideas, use of a variety of sensory modes, right? Like your hearing, your touch, your taste, all that kind of good stuff. Visualizing, use of mnemonic devices. So mnemonic devices, we talked about that. I gave you some examples of those mnemonic devices, like PEMDAS, okay? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? Which is again parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction from left to right in the order in which you encounter it, right? And then we had my very educated mother just served us noodles for the planets, you know. So those are both mnemonic devices. Helps us to memorize and keep those things here prepared for whatever you're doing, essay test, whatever you got to do to recall. We also had eat an apple as a nice snack for all the continents. And then we had homes for the Great Lakes. Okay. So these are examples of mnemonic devices. So again, those are different strategies you could cover. Sometimes students, if they can group strategies together, they have done more than one. Everybody see what I'm saying there? So just understand that that is a possibility too. You just have to have something that ties it together. It makes sense, together. All right. So I'm going to show you, and this is an older one. It's one for where actually we were going through the pandemic. It was a 2020 project, and this student did the reading wizard. Okay, these students didn't have an example, so they were the first ones to do it this style because I had physical projects before that. Why do you think I didn't have groups to do physical projects during the pandemic? Everybody home, you can't get together, right? So I had to pivot. They created project. I still have some of my student projects from when they did it before. They were awesome projects. But it still worked, so we stayed with this because you never know. Things can happen. So, but I made it in this way, and students were able to do this. And because it was the pandemic, and it was the first round of this, and let me see if I can. I don't think it's gonna let me click. You gonna let me? That link, it didn't work last time. We'll have it. I'm gonna see if I can search it up in a minute. That even though it recognizes the link for some reason, because I should have brought my laptop and then it would have. That's one thing I got to learn it won't do. It's just saying it's an image. That's all right. Well, I'll tell you about it, and then you guys will be able to see it. I'll have it up. But in this, I have a student, and he decides that he's going to do acronyms, right? And he's the reading wizard. And he actually goes to a room, kind of like a classroom space, but it's like a community space. But he wants it to be to look like he's being taught a lesson. So he's both characters because it's the pandemic, and he can't do it with anybody else, right? So he has the camera to film himself doing things like, hey, can you teach me how to use acronyms? And then the reading wizard, he looks kind of like Gandalf. He's dressed up like a Gandalf character. He, is telling him how to do it. And then he goes to the board and demonstrates that he's learned this. And then at the end, he poofs himself away, like in smoke, and kind of goes away from editing. So that's the way he did his video. Now, here are some PowerPoint examples. Let me see if I can get the reading wizard once we go on break. These examples, I chose not to get the best because I want you guys to tell me how they could be improved. You guys see what I'm saying there? So these are not flawless. They have good information. All of them do, okay? But I want you to tell me how they could have made it better, okay? And it should jump out to you right away. I want you to imagine this is a PowerPoint that's supposed to teach you something. What could be improved on this? All right, so here they have used these 4 strategies to help you attack the word and find its meaning. All right, so what do we notice here? And look at it up here. I know y'all looking at it there because it's small, right? But if you're in class and you see this, what would you say? Like if I put this up here, or another instructor, which I wouldn't do that. But if another instructor put this up there, what would you say in your head? You might not say it out loud. What would you say in your head? I can't really read. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Yeah. Now they have good information. And I'm going to prove that to you because I'm going to increase my size. So like you see right here, it says find a synonym. You might find a word with the same meaning. Okay. They know what they're doing. They prepared. They just didn't. When you have it on the screen in front of you, you're like, oh, that's big enough. That you don't want to be too big. 12-point font is fine when you're typing a paper. So why not on here? That's what they're thinking. You see what I'm saying? So 24 and above is really where you want to be. Okay, 24 and above. Nothing wrong a lot of times with 36 because if you don't have a bunch on that page, I don't know why I did that. That was really weird. Is that the light is kind of because they're not moving? Okay, yeah. I was like, what? I couldn't tell if it was my computer or the light. It was like something changed. But 36, depending on how much you have on that page, could be perfect. You see what I'm saying? And then your title could be a little bigger. Okay. So here, now what do you notice? Why can't you see this well? Let me go back out. What's causing an issue here? Like, why can't we visually see that well? You see that contrast? There's not a lot of contrast or enough contrast, right? So this blue here and the black kind of blends in, doesn't it? So if I used a white font on that blue, it would pop. Y'all see what I'm saying? Like that contrast would really work. Also, you can see this size, even though they thought that was really big, you need that size. But then what's going on with this font they chose? Huh? Go ahead. Yeah, and how? Explain a little more. Yeah, I'm going with you, but what do you mean by that? That you don't see a lot of consistency. And then in addition to that, does it kind of blend together a little bit hard to read? It's not very compliant for, quick reading and all those things. They're trying to be creative. A lot of times we want to do stuff like a Disney font or, things like that. And it's really pretty, but is it practical? No, because you're trying to actually read this. Now, what do you also notice here? What's going on here?
No, all the way down. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's overlapping there, isn't it? It's like you needed to push that down. And who, look at all this space. Who are we saving this space for? Right? There's no cost, right, for that. Yeah. So you could do all kind of stuff with that space. But their idea of not overcrowding with words, the number of words, very smart. But the size and that contrast and the placement is where we see that. And one more thing, the font is causing issues. So let's go to the next one. What do you think about here? Same deal. And you can see they had thought about it. They have a theme. What's their theme? The sharks, right? They're like, I got a theme. I'm gonna kill it, right? I have good information, but if you look here, that size, the contrast, again, they're trying. I think they're thinking this is a design choice by having it half and splitting it there, but it's really not helpful. They could have bumped that all the way down to the white, and then they could see it better. Yeah. All right. And you can see they even try to do a pop of color on opposite to emphasize that part of the definition. But they didn't really, the choice of that background and the colors is not really it, but you could see what they were trying to do. Again, that white font on the dark black background would be awesome. If you have a white background, dark font, you see how that works. All right, here we are again, right? Same kind of problem. This helps us when we're planning, though, right? You're like, ooh, no, we don't want funky fonts. Don't make it small. Watch out for the contrast, all that kind of stuff. Yes, we understand that you have a theme, but the focus can't just be on that. It has to be on the person being able to read that information. And they even, like here it says, find an explanation. This is all this is about context clues. They really didn't explain it fully that this was about context clues. But like here it says, use these 4 strategies to help you attack the word and find its meaning, which is it's about context clues. And so in this example of context clues, they said find an explanation. The word might be explained in the sentence before or after the unfamiliar word. And so their example was, Jo was so exhausted she could hardly keep her eyes open. So it's saying the explanation for exhausted, she could hardly keep her eyes open. So you see, they thought about it. They actually did a good job with the information. It's just the delivery really wasn't there. So here, look at all this space. You see all this? She could have, or their group could have had this with the right font. This is a good amount of information. This is good layout, like what they're thinking. Not good as in legible, right? But I can see this chunk of information is good because it's not overwhelming. Space it out, that background, I know you like blue, but that's just not going with what you're trying to do, right? And then you could have had this picture kind of, they even have something that's called Design Editor that helps you with doing projects now. So you may have even seen this, but you click on it, it gives you options like, hey, would you like it to look like this? Would you like it to look like this? After you put your information on there. So it's very helpful. All right. Keep it going. Okay. It said, if you still can't read the word, leave it and just keep reading. Is that really the best? No. We're going to want to look it up, something like that. So, there we had an inaccurate piece of information. I would want to, when we talked about annotation, I'd want to circle it or, highlight and say, hey, girl, come back to this. Annotate. We didn't get that. Okay, so here's another one. What do you think will be the theme for this one? Garfield, right? So there's stand with Garfield the cat, and it says teaching inferences through comics. So, hey, the layout looks pretty decent so far, right? Okay, so let's see. What we got? Too small. They had the thought, right? They had the thought, I'll use thought bubbles, right? Cute, comics, all that kind of stuff. But Look at all the space that's not used. Couldn't I have increased that? All that kind of business? But it wasn't done that way. But I'll increase it so you can see what they had. It says, I'm happy to report that there's been a demand for my comics because they help you with inferencing. So put on your thinking caps. Okay. So here, what do you notice? Way too small, right? And this is something to think about. A lot of people think I've got to put it all on one side. No, I can break this up. For instance, let's look here. It says, and I'll increase it so we can kind of look at it together because I'm all up on it, but okay. So it says, over the years, I've found that one of the most effective ways to strengthen inference skills is through the use of comics. Garfield is my character of choice for several reasons. First, I absolutely adore him. Second, his comics lend themselves to inferencing on an elementary level. That could have been just all on one side. Y'all get that? So that could have been the start slide there. And then the next slide, and I could have had Garfield again. Okay? So I could do, if I had this chunk, I could do a duplicate slide, duplicate, cut all that off, then go to the next slide. And what word would I start with the next slide? Although. Okay? So although I have to spend countless hours searching through his archives to find ones that are age appropriate. Garfield doesn't have, well, maybe too young. Maybe they're saying too young. But there's nothing inappropriate about Garfield. As with any comic, some are more difficult than others to decipher. But more importantly, he is a character that students actually begin to build a relationship with. They fall in love, and you see it's going on too long, right? So I could have stopped, like I have all that to decipher, okay? I could have stopped here. Here we go with that. All right. And then, yes, you're sensitive. Again, chop, chop. I touch it sensitive. I could chop again and so forth. So I could make like 4 slides out of this. You guys can see that easily. And there's no charge for slides, right? So it doesn't matter. And then guess what? I've got all this. Look at all that. So this is really more like a handout than a PowerPoint slide, isn't it? That is like a handout. Let's see here. Get this off. Okay, so here it says, like I'm thinking it's like my computer. It says PowerPoint suggestions because it's the first time some students, there's 4 points here. Where could I cut this in half? I see there's 4, but how could I cut this in half so I don't have this big chunk on there? And I would just title it the same thing, PowerPoint suggestions. And then on the next slide, 3 and 4. Y'all see how that works? Then I'd have like whatever theme, Garfield, Odie, whatever the character is on the next one. So that, just think about it that way. I don't have to keep everything together. So let's keep it going. What do you notice here? Way too small. It looks neat, right? If it were a handout, and even with a handout, it's still too small, right? So when we look here, who are we saving the space for? Again, right? Even up here. So use your space. Make sure, like you're doing here, all this could have been used. Okay? All that could be used. I mean, y'all see how many times I had to increase it, right? I mean, but you can see how that would have been much better. Like if I had it bigger at the top and then like that, much better. Or not me, but the student. So it says sample discussion questions. Why does Garfield refer to his bed as a time travel machine? Okay. What is happening in frame 2? What does this really mean? Is time elapsing? These are good questions, aren't they? Student did good. Did Garfield really time travel? What actually happened in the comment? Do you think Garfield really thinks he time traveled, or do you think he's just teasing? Why? So let's look. Set frame 2, right? It says, What is happening in frame two? Where it said, what's happening there? Yeah, he's sleeping. He said, I go to sleep and voila, just like that, it's tomorrow. It is all a blur. So that's Garfield humor. He likes to eat and sleep, as we know. Okay. Again, what do you notice here? Too, too small. You know it's going to be a good, questions and layout, but it's too small. Look at all that space that they were saving for somebody else. I don't know who, but we were saving, right? We were saving. Now here we go. You can see here he's by himself. Garfield has been presented his food, and then he says, "Now where are my pants?" So he had to negotiate. He took his pants so that he would be given his food by John. Okay, so Garfield often treats his owner in this way. Very demanding cat. Okay, and frame one, what does his facial expression look like? He looks very what? Huh? Yeah, sneaky, satisfied, smug, like I'm gonna get what I want now. He needs his pants. He probably got his press pants and he's getting ready to go to work, right? So he's like, I bet you'll come bring me something to eat now. Okay. All right, good. Again, you can see the same thing going on with issues, right? Okay. Same stuff. Now I want you to see here. They even used like a little Odie icon there, okay, which was neat, but it's still small, isn't it? It's still small. So here we have who or what might Odie be? We know who Odie is. What does Garfield think that dogs are good at? Why does Garfield come to this conclusion? It says Odie is climbing a tree. Thud, thud. Needless to say, dogs aren't real good at that. Okay? So they have their little comment going on. We have another, and we see the same issues. And then what do they have at the end? The end. Now, one other issue they had is with both of those is it needed to be 15 slides, and it wasn't. Okay, so they didn't get full credit. 15 slides minimum. A lot of people are like, "What happens if I go over it?" Nothing. It's just you got to have that minimum, and they could have gotten that because remember, look at all this here. That was several slides. That's like 5. This was 4 up here, and this is the 5th one. So they could have just chopped that up and been fine. As long as you're not just pulling for straws and saying, I'll just put like a word or two on here, for no reason, you're good to go. And you're on topic, you're on theme, you got it. Okay. So let's take a 5-minute brain break. You can get up and stretch, whatever you need to do. We'll come back together. Let's just go ahead at 11:55. Give you a little bit longer. Okay, 11:55. All right, so let's check, see if I can find it. Got about a minute left. All right, if you're sending the text, go ahead and finish it up. Good to go. Okay, so what do you think we need to take care of now?
are able, are after, I love, I wonder.
Correct. So on your teams, okay, and you are actually, I should have said this earlier, you'll be actually on that road now because that student actually, I don't know if y'all remember, I said that she had already passed the class.
Yeah, you did.
They figured that out. So, yeah, she had passed it. So she's gone to the next level, but you'll be able to sit over there. Let me know, and then we'll be doing I Love, I Wonder, all that good stuff, okay? We'll also remind you how to submit your KWLs and all that kind of good stuff, okay? We'll talk about that. Okay, just let me know. I'm gonna go too fast or too slow. Anyone still working? Good to go? All right, so with that, before we hit up our love, I wonder, let's just review how to submit. So you know that you need to do what first? Take pictures of what?
Your KWL.
KWLs for the week, right? So you have how many to take pictures of for this week? Two is correct, two. So you will upload that to week what? And how do you know what week belongs to what?
It's there.
Yeah, it's there on your page, right? So I know I say things really explicitly, but it's to help. So if you're like, oh my gosh, which week does this belong to? You know it because it's there, okay? So you take a picture of it. We had some options, right? We had different people saying they'll put it on OneDrive. Different people said they have a phone that is an iPhone and they have a Apple product like a tablet. So they would do what to get it to that tablet or that? They would what? Yeah, and it's called an air what? AirDrop. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Think it is. That's what it means. Fancy is just AirDrop, right? I was like, what is this? Well, like first time I heard about it, I was like, what? Just AirDrop it. I'm like, what is that? So I had to know what that was and even how to do that. But yeah, students are doing that. I'm old school, so the way that I did mine to start with is I sent it to myself in an email and then I saved it. But you don't have to do it that way. I just want you to know there's at least three ways to do this. Y'all probably know other ways, and if you figure it out, tell me, because then I will tell other students. Everybody got that? My strong suggestion is that you organize all of your files together, those two files, into the folder together, wherever you're going to upload them. So because you have to do that together, you have to submit both at the same time. You don't go and submit and then come back out and submit the next one because it overrides it. So you put them both together. Okay. All right, no, that's not what I wanted. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Let me see if I can have any files on this thing. I think it's clean right now. Let's see. What about in the recycle bin? Nothing's in. Let me look here. Nope. So I'll just create one real quick. So I'm gonna say Word. I'm gonna do a Word document and say, no, don't. You're gonna make me have to sign in. Say testing. No, I don't want to get. Okay, hold on. You're gonna make me sign in. I don't want to. Really don't want to get help. Let's go back out. I think that's what it's making me have to sign in on 365, and that's fine. Go back. It's because it's not my computer. All right. Sign in. And this is just with your. If it ever asks you this, it's just the Tri-County login. All right, you're gonna send me a text. All right, so what is it? So, perfect. Okay, so I've got some files here. Let me see if it'll let me then upload it when I get ready to do it. Back up. See, I'm logged into Tri-County on this one already. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go into, we're on week 4. I'm just going to student view to make sure y'all can see this stuff too. And I need to share it here because I am recording this, so I'm just going to go out and then come back in. Share application. I'm going to share the entire screen. Okay. All right. So here we are. So I'm in student view. I need to click on week 4. All right, so KWL submissions. So I'm clicking there, right? I'm in week 4. I click there and I click view instructions. Okay. Once I click on that, what do I click to get all the options so I can attach? Yeah, I click right in there. Well, I'm gonna click. Well, I don't necessarily do this because I can just go here. But yeah, so like this is everything. So like when you get ready to, let's say if you did a video, like the YouTube video or anything like that, that is where you would go. She's correct. You can do everything from there. But because I just need something simple, I just click on the attachment. Let me hit cancel. I don't want all that over there. So I'm just gonna click on that. Let me see here because it's not my thing. I'm gonna see how I can access this again. Go back quickly because I signed in. Let's go back to you. This is actually a great example. If it's in the cloud, you have to download it to your device, correct? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yes. So I'm going to do this for this. So I'm going to say file. I'm going to save a copy of this. I need to save it to this actual device, right? So I'm going to look for a spot. Remember I said you're going to put it all in one area. So where is my area? I'm going to say, well, for me, I'm just going to put it on the desktop for now. I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to say week 4 stuff. Okay. So I'm going to put that there and then clicking it. And when I hit save, it's going to be in there. And then I need at least one more because I want to demonstrate how to do this. So I'm going to go back out. Let me see, file. Let me open something else. Cultural content. I'll just do the September thing. Okay, open up. All right. So now, got it. I say file. Remember, I'm doing save a copy again. I look for where I did that. I'm going to browse for it. And then I did desktop, right? And I said week 4 stuff. And then I'm going to save it there. So when I actually look for it, remember I'm here with my paperclip. I go back to my paperclip. I'm supposed to be in the desktop. Remember that? Yep. So I go back there, I click on my week 4 stuff, and I have to select the boxes. See, I'll select both of those at the same time. Remember, because it overwrites it if I do it one at a time. So I click both. I click open. It's going to do that conversion, okay? I can see it sitting there once it's converted. It's sitting there. I can check, make sure everything is there. Yep, that's the stuff I had. And then what do? I click submit. I see my receipt, okay? And if there's ever a question, you can, click download and say, hey, I promise, or a screenshot and send it to an instructor. Like, I did it. I see the timestamp. I did that. It was in there. So there you are. Okay. What's the other thing you need to take care of for week 4?
Chapter 2, reading, quizzes and stuff on the book.
Exactly. And I put it in here so that you can access it. You have 2 ways to access it, right? Mm-hmm. I could actually go here and get all of them, right? But I also put them in here, okay? So you can access it directly. All right. Any questions about that? Because I want to make sure everybody's good to go. Are we ready for our Love, I Wonder? All right. All right, so let's go back. Was that confusing at all? Like any components of that confusing? Okay.
When we start the project?
We're gonna be starting it soon. We would have already we would have. It just happened to be that snowstorm. We're actually going to be coming up, having Mrs. Davis come in, Mrs. Reneva Davis. Let me see. Hold on. Look on your schedule really quickly while I'm pulling this up and see where it talks about Miss Davis coming in. So that schedule, like that's in your workbook, it'll be on the one that's the shortened one. And of course, it's in the ones where you're doing it on the workbook. But if you look at the one where it's running and has all the dates, see where it says that.
In the table of contents.
So in where you see all the dates in short. Let me see. Let me go to
Right
something.
here.
Yeah, you found it. You're on the page. You're on the pages. So let's see here. You're right. Oh, shit. Yes, ma'am. So let me look here. We're gonna do 3. Here we go. So make sure there wasn't one before then. Yeah. So that's Miss Davis is going the first time taught with us on the 17th, and then the second time on the 24th. She's gonna, Hal was going through and talking about those PowerPoints and presentations and things. She's gonna kind of go do an overview of that, and then you all are gonna get in the right mindset of, hey, this is the type of project we wanna do. What ideas, which, because you can see in between there, like I have her to talk to you, and then the next day you're gonna work with your success team to discuss the information you learned, and then you'll support each other and start on the planning sheet, which I'll talk to you about. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, we're planned out as much as possible.
Like that.
You know, like we know. All right. So here we go. I love, I wonder. Which side did I start with y'all last time? Okay, so you get the lucky draw first. We'll go come up and then there. Okay, let's go.
So I love the project examples, and I wonder if I will use them to make it better.
Yes, because we're like, no, we don't want our stuff looking like that, right? Yes, ma'am.
I love that I got to know about the success team project,
Yes.
and I wonder what will our team.
Yes. Yes. It's like there's so many good ideas too, right? Possibilities. Yes, ma'am.
I love I get the chance to show you my beautiful PowerPoint coming, and I wonder if they're gonna be the only project we have in class.
Excellent. It's the only major project. That's right. Yes.
I don't know how many options we have to communicate with. I don't have options right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm very open. And I wonder how creative things get into the project.
Hey, I love the creativity pieces you guys are talking about because I love those.
I love how the past projects were a good example of what or what not to do, and I wonder if the layer part matters too much.
Yes. So like the clarity, as long as it's, because you can select, I mean, like Arial's very clear. Other ones, you know, it's as long as you can
Does
see
it
it
have to
well.
be like formal fun, like formal, like romance and fire fun?
So you can look at it, I don't care what it's called, just as long as it's a good clear
So
plan.
you can see
Yes.
everybody's.
How can we use this on other projects in other classrooms? And then I wonder how I can use this at maybe for.
Yes, ma'am. Awesome day in class. Look, as promised, it's an early day, right? It's an early day.
Thank you.
Yes, you guys have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.